Jenniffer. I'm chair of the California Young Republicans. I want to thank you all for coming out today. This was our first ATF day, and we are honored to have a very special guest with us. State Senator Jeff Denham is here. He is currently running for Lieutenant Governor. And just a little brief history about Senator Denham. He served in the U.S. Air Force, served our country in Operation Desert Storm in Iraq and Operation Restore Hope in Somalia. Back in last year in 2008, you guys might remember he was targeted by Don Frauda and the Democrats for not supporting the unbalanced budget, right? And I think he won by what, more than 76%.
There we go.
He stands on conservative principles and that he's a fighter. And I think all those things are going to help him be successful as Lieutenant Governor. I'd like to introduce you to State Senator Jeff Denham.
Well, thank you. Let me first start by saying thank you. I know some of you came over and helped walk precincts during that recall, and we really appreciate the help. It was a very frustrating battle. It was very personal. Like, I wanted to run up the score big. I was so frustrated that they thought that they could target me and pick me off for a tax increase, and that somehow I was just going to cower and vote for something that I didn't believe in. So I stood strong on my principles. We fought back, and I know some of you came over and helped out, and we appreciate it. So thank you. I've been in the Senate for 7 years now. I've seen a lot. It's been quite a battle through the whole time. I'm in a targeted seat, which means the Democrats always feel that there are only a couple of targets, and you represent a lot more Democrats than Republicans. They think that they come to your district, hold protests, gin up the media, and force you to vote for something that you don't think is the right thing to do. For 7 years now, I've held strong. They thought they could take me out in my re-election. We won by 20 points. They got frustrated last year I wouldn't support the tax increases, and the recall, we won by 76%. I didn't go to Sacramento to get pushed around. I came up there with some very strong beliefs. I want to change this state. I want to bring it back to something where I know that my kids will be able to get into college and get a job and eventually get a house. But I don't think that there's that opportunity right now. And I believe that in this next election cycle, we need to get our young voters generated and out there, not only to vote, but actually getting out there and working. We have the message. I mean, right now, if you're in high school, you're probably not getting into college. And if you're in college, you're probably not getting out and getting a job. And if you actually have a job right now in this tough economy, you're probably not getting a house. And for those reasons, I think that we've got a message to reach out to younger voters and get them energized. And without young voters, we're not going to win elections. So I think we've got a great opportunity this next year to take the state back, to actually make some, win some seats and then make some changes. But it's going to take a lot of strong will, a lot of effort, but we have the message. Right now, we just left Sacramento, and on a 21-19 vote, they passed the biggest early release program this nation has ever seen. I mean, this state continues to move to the left at a time when we just saw a budget that cut local law enforcement, transferred a lot of state costs to local, so there's less money for law enforcement, and then a $1.2 billion cut, an unallocated cut to corrections. So 2 days ago, they came up with this bill that would have done not only an early release, but created a commission so that legislators wouldn't have to vote for the early release. The commission would do it for them. I mean, I believe it was the most cowardly vote that I have seen in my entire life. If you want to do early release, be accountable for it. But to hide behind a commission, I think, is irresponsible. I think voters see it. I think the media actually is on our side on the issue and reporting on it. But we have a lot to fight for. I mean, our future, the future of our state depends on it. As I'm traveling up and down the state, I'm surprised at how many people I am meeting that, they call themselves Californians. They were born here, but they've decided they're only going to live here 1 day shy of 6 months because they're going to pay taxes and deal with regulations in other states. They love our state, but can't afford to live here. I'm tired of seeing this. I want to see this state brought back. I want to see a state where my kids can afford to live here and be Californians. And we've got to bring our economy back. Right now we're falling behind the rest of the nation. And we're seeing a high unemployment rate that as the rest of the nation starts to rebound, we're still falling behind. So we've got a lot of work to do over the next several years. And with your help, we're going to win some elections and even out the playing field. So with that, before I start filibustering any longer, let me answer questions you might have for me. I mean, I prefer a town hall setting and answer the questions that are important to you.
Senator, what do you think about the recent proposal of the CRT to make our primary GOP block out the prime state, Democrats, anybody else that might get it?
You know, I actually differ from the party on this issue, and when I do differ with the party, I'm very vocal about it. You know, I've won an open primary. I'm the only Republican that sits in a Democrat seat. We cannot win this state back if we don't start getting Democrat and independent votes.
Yeah.
And so I'm one that's willing to go out there and fight for that and put my money and my time where my mouth is. So I think we can win these seats. We have the message. You know, you win in a 33% Republican seat by 76% of the vote because Democrats don't want their taxes raised any more than Republicans do. But if you take that message to them, we'll get their vote.
You being targeted for recall yourself, I'm curious how you feel about those Republicans who voted, like the Nathan Maldonados of the world, and them being targeted for possible recalls. How do you feel about the Republicans for recall?
I'm not a big fan of recalls. You know, obviously I went through one, it was very personal, but I do believe that every vote that you cast, you've got to be held accountable. And I think the easiest way to voice your opinion of a Republican that raised taxes is to hit them at the voting booth. So I think that if you really want to take out one of those individuals, it's easier to do it in an actual primary election than it is to do it in a recall. Because in a recall, you're going to have Democrats and independents voting.
Yeah, so we talked before about how extremely uncompetitive the state is right now, whether it be with taxes or the regulations or the fiscal weakness that continues to pile up. What realistically do we need to do as Californians and as you as a politician and a future, hopefully, lieutenant governor to change this business environment? What needs to be done politically? And then if you had, you know, or if you were emperor for a day, what would you change tomorrow to make this state ultra competitive globally again?
If I could change one thing, it'd be our tax structure. I think you could change our tax structure to a flat tax type of situation where you didn't get nickeled and dimed on every single you know, tax that we get hit with. I think that there are proposals out there. It would be extremely hard to pass in this state, but if you could pass it, it would make us much more competitive with other states. In fact, it would put us ahead of other states. That would be the single #1 issue. But, you know, straightening out our state budget would be one. I introduced an initiative yesterday within the legislature that would take us not only to a part-time legislature, but would cut our staffs in half, cut our pay in half. We should be like almost every other state where we have a part-time legislature. You do your budget one year, you come back the next year and you do bills. Right now we have, you know, I just sat through appropriations, which deals with all the money bills, like we have a lot of money to spend right now. 250 bills in one day.
Wow.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. You know, people don't know what's going on in the legislature. We should have a part-time legislature.
Just to follow up, you talked about taxes and how important that is, and going back to my point about what practically needs to be done politically. Has the message gotten through with this last election, the referendums, with the voters saying we don't want any more taxes, with whether it's 1A through all the other bonds? Has that message gotten through to a lot of the state legislature because the Democrats are controlling everything? And also, has that gotten through to the Republican Party because the California State Party put $600,000 to try to pass 1A before they were for it, before they were against it? So, I mean, again, has that message sunk in? And if it hasn't, who do we need? What candidates do we need? And what do we need to do as members on the ground to try to get the right leadership in place to get this thing done?
I would say definitely the message is loud and clear for Republicans. I don't think you'll see another Republican voting for a tax increase, and if you do, their career will be over. For the Democrats, you know, there's still proposals out there right now today to raise taxes. So You know, that will be, especially after we just passed this last budget with cuts, I expect when we have this $6 to $9 billion deficit in the fall, that will be the first thing on the table is a variety of different taxes. So no, we still have a battle on our hands. But again, you know, back to the election next year, I believe that we're going to see some big changes because people are frustrated. You know, you don't have to be a Republican to be frustrated about taxes.
Yeah.
Independents and Democrats are going to be equally as frustrated because they're actually seeing it as well as the high unemployment rates that we're facing right now. You know, I have guns in my house. And, you know, my kids, I want them to be aware and be cautious of that. But it's a freedom. That's one freedom that I served in the military for and expect to always have that freedom, and I'm going to fight for it to the end.